Hey everybody, it's Brandon, and it's Tuesday again. This week we're going to be talking about applying for jobs and employment situations. So, when I look for a job, I usually try to look for places that are accepting of trans people. Just because I've already had my name changed and I can have my gender marker changed and all that. Um, for me, it would be more about like taking time off for any surgeries or anything. Um, so having an employer who is trans friendly is important, so I can be open about that and not have to worry about trying to come up with some other reason why I need to be gone for that long, or make up some surgery that I'm having to keep from being out. Um, so the way I go about doing that is the HRC website has an employer database on it. And I would just brainstorm some places that I would like to work at, and I would run these companies through the HRC database and check out what their, like, if they have something in their paperwork protecting people's gender, or protecting people from being discriminated against based on their gender identity. So places like Target and Starbucks and Darden restaurants, which I work for a Darden restaurant. Um, Places like that. Like it would show up under like, okay, they protect sexual orientation and they protect gender identity. Do they offer any insurance policies that would cover surgeries, or they have a bunch of that listed. So I always use that as a cross reference before I go to apply. Now, when I actually before I changed my name when I was applying places, I always, unless it said put your legal name into it, I always ran it through Brandon. Um, I mean, I was kind of iffy about it before I started T, just because I wasn't passing as well. But once I started T, it was anything else would get me just weird looks if I got called in for an interview. So I would put Brandon on everything, and my resume said Brandon because it's not technically a legal document, so you can put whatever name you want on your resume. So I would always just put Brandon, my last name, and then go through the interview process and all that. And then if I was offered the job, I would, as I was filling out my paperwork for it, I would sit there and I'm like, okay, well, just so you know, what, like, the name that's going on this paperwork is not the name you know me by. And I mean, that's when I would come out to just the manager who was hired or handling the paperwork. Uh, I've never had an issue with it. In fact, the first manager I did that with, uh, I didn't even really fully come out to her. I was like, the name that's on my legal name is different from the name that I applied as, just so you know. She's like, all right, just put whatever your legal name is on there. Didn't ask me any questions. I mean, I went to explain it to her, and she's like, that's your business. It's not really anybody else's. If anybody causes any issues, you come to me and let me know. She's like, but I definitely don't want you to feel like you have to tell anybody. So I had a really good experience there. And then the job I got after that, um, I was filling out my paperwork, and I told her, I was like, the name that's going on here is not the same name. And I kind of just gave her, like, I'm transgender, and she was like, okay, yeah, you had to put your legal name on here for whatever reason, but we will make sure the name that's in the register system is Brandon. So that was really awesome. And then pretty much the same thing. The job I'm at now. And so when applying for jobs, I would say put your preferred name, as long as that's what you're comfortable with. Then when you go in and you're filling out paperwork after you've been offered the job, that's when you tell them, okay, by the way, this name is different for whatever reason. You don't even necessarily have to come out. You just say, my legal name's different from the one I applied under, just so there's no confusion. I haven't had an issue at all with it. Now, as far as where I work for Longhorn Steakhouse, which is a Darden restaurant. Darden is very, very inclusive as far as their policies. They have gender identity protection and all that. All of my managers have been totally cool with everything. We had a management change soon after I came in. So a lot of the managers that came in, I hadn't talked to, they didn't know. And when they were going through my paperwork, not through my paperwork specifically, but when they saw my name in the system, they're like, oh, well, it's either a mistake or, they just didn't even think about it. And, I had to take time off to have surgery. And I kind of just told them I'm alone. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm having surgery. Explained what it was, and they're like, wait, hold on. Okay, so you're trans? They asked a couple questions, but they were very respectful about it. Everybody just wanted to make sure I was going to be okay. Yeah, I think it's a really great place to work for as long as you're okay with hospitality, working in the hospitality industry. Or not hospitality, service industry. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about employment stuff. If you have any other questions, leave a comment and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Alright, see y'all next week.